Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Mickey.
Hi, I'm Mickey, and this is Doc.
Hi, everybody.
And we're back with another wonderful installment of our program. We were going to talk about T. Colin Campbell today, as we told you before, but Doc discovered some really interesting information that he really wants to share that I think will be very crucial to a lot of people listening.
Yeah. I thought, and we're coming to you from Cuenca, Ecuador. We had a slight plumbing crisis last weekend, so we didn't do this last weekend, and then we ran across some other information. So hopefully you'll find it very useful. Spend a lot of time on the internet every day, and this is kind of a continuation of the Dr. McDougall program that we did the last time. So this is volume 5 of the regular, as opposed to the other volumes that are recipe volumes that you show people how to cook certain dishes and stuff. Those always have an A after them, just so if you're looking at our channel and looking at the different definitions or titles of each of the deals. Anyhow,
well, I need to clarify that sometimes there may not be an A after it because I'm the one who posts it.
Oh yeah, that's right. We won't go into detail.
So anyway,
so it's sort of a continuation of what kind of reasoning do we want to use when we're evaluating the information that we come across on the internet, or just things that we are using every day that have been told to us. I mean, most of you probably are very familiar with different things that have been recommended over the years, like the what is it called, the pyramid, the food pyramid that our
FDA.
the FDA comes out with and recommends certain things. And obviously, there's some real fallacies there if you delve into it. I was just thinking about drugs, pharmaceuticals, as one of the things. I ran across an article on the internet where the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said that another heart medicine was being voluntarily recalled after tests had shown that it was tainted with a potential cancer-causing chemical. And the first thing,
this is after it's been on the market for a while.
And I was going to say, I asked myself, well, why would it be on the market if it has that, and why are they just now discovering it? So that was the first thing that kind of occurred to me. Anyway, the recall included a drug that's the patients use to keep their blood pressures down. And it's being recalled because the active ingredient has tested positive for what's called the NDEA. It's a element that's suspected human and animal carcinogen that's used in gasoline, of all things, as a stabilizer for industry materials and as a lubricant additive. And I'm kind of wondering, well, why would that be in some of our pharmaceuticals? But that's according to the National Institutes of Health. So as Mickey says, why would that ever even be on the market? So just because I only bring this up to our viewers as something to kind of be on the lookout for. Just because something has been approved and is on the market doesn't mean it's healthy and safe, exactly, and good for us. And this kind of leads,
which is another reason for not relying so much on medicine.
Yes.
On pharmaceuticals, and I know a lot of people who have different health issues think that they can solve everything, don't have to change their lives in any way, don't have to change their diets, don't have to change anything. All they have to do is take a pill.
Yeah.
And the pill is magic, and it will just take care of it. But now I think this is more evidence, as if we needed more evidence, that a pill is not the magic wand.
Right.
Always.
Well, this is a perfect segue.
Everybody could need it, but it's not the magic wand.
Well, and also, as we've discussed before, just about every pharmaceutical or anything that we take into our system really has some kind of a side effect in our system. I mean, it doesn't just affect
that might not be immediately noticed.
That's a good point.
But we are concerned more with long term.
Yeah.
And so certainly 5 seconds.
5 seconds is not considered
long term.
Well, and there is we have a society in the United States anyway that is sort of an immediate solution type of society. We want to find the things that are going to fix things right away, like a headache, and that kind of makes sense. That's an acute thing, perhaps, but
And losing weight.
and
or
losing weight,
whatever.
that type of thing. We want to do it instantly, and sometimes it's necessary to do those things. But our emphasis, as Mickey points out, is on the long-term effects of our health, the quality of our life, and so forth. Um, and it kind of tied in with that is this article. We ran across an article by Jeff Novick. He's a gentleman that works with Dr. McDougall, and that was our last emphasis was on Dr. McDougall's work and his website. And so we wanted to share an article that's on that website that you can go to. I was just going to kind of summarize some of the things.
Sure.
And if you're interested in this particular thing, then you can go to the website and read the entire article.
Right. And
Right.
one of the best things you can do right now is to go to that website and sign up.
And sign up
Because
and get
there's so much information on there that when you have a couple of minutes every
Mhm.
day,
Yep.
look up some issues that you're interested in.
Right.
And there is so much information.
Yeah, he has
It's
a lot of
great
archive.
place to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, exactly. He has a lot of archived information that you can zero in on your particular health concerns and take a look at that. But this article was called The Real Coconut Oil Miracle: How a High-Fat, High-Calorie Condiment Became a, quote, superfood. Now, this is a tongue-in-cheek title, as you might have guessed, knowing if you're familiar with Dr. McDougall and what he thinks about oils. And,
Yes.
right? He's,
And Dr. Esselstyn
and many others.
a growing number of people.
Yeah.
Heart doctors
Mhm.
and everybody else are concerned about what oil does
Yeah.
to your system. And in fact, we had our youngest son asked me the other day, isn't coconut oil good for you? Because he'd
Yeah.
heard that, as
Uh-huh.
everybody else had heard that.
Exactly.
So coconut oil was supposed to be the magic.
Well, it's a miracle.
wand,
It says
right.
here it's a miracle superfood right here in the
Right.
article. So, and it's like extra virgin, whatever that
Mhm.
is. Either you're a virgin or you're not, right? But extra virgin olive oil, I had
It's
to
not
throw that
quite
in.
the same
It's not
thing,
quite the
but
same thing, but I mean, even that, it's a concentrated oil, and so
There's
that
somebody
is
who needs to Google stuff over here.
yes. Exactly. So anyhow, what Jeff does in the article is he talks a little bit about the background, the turn of the 20th century, which would be around 1900. Most of Americans were using butter, lard, and chicken fat for cooking and so forth, and it was very useful because it held up under high heat and so forth, and had really good taste and texture. That type
Did you
of
say
thing.
bacon fat too? Because that's a big.
I didn't say bacon fat, but that wasn't in his article, so I didn't mention it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that was
But
another
a
thing.
lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, well,
Because
you can
people
in the
used to
40s.
save,
Yeah.
not in the 40s,
Well, I was.
but they.
Obviously, we
But-
prepared this really well. Not in the
But
40s.
anyway, bacon fat was huge.
Yes, it was.
People poured it in containers
I know,
and
and it's-
saved it and
then
then
it's-
used it.
Well, it would solidify. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah. That,
Mhm,
just
yeah.
like in the arteries. That was
Yes.
exciting. Anyhow, back to the so
Miracle we're alive.
that we're even here.
Yes.
Aren't you glad?
We may not be here.
So you're getting me off my track, which is very easy to do. Let's
I'm
see.
sorry, go ahead.
So anyway, there were the high levels of saturated fats obviously made it harmful to our health, but they didn't know that at the time. And when it was finally discovered, they tried to find something that would substitute for animal fats. So they went to around the 60s, 1960s. There was something that came out from the American Heart Association that was recommending replace the saturated fat in animal fats to polyunsaturated fats,
Mhm.
which was from vegetable oils, and to a lesser extent shortening and margarine. And so that was kind of encouraged, and so the seesaw began. And let me get rid of this here so I can. Okay, so they thought the best way to do that was to swap out the saturated fat-rich foods with foods rich in the polyunsaturated, and obviously, soybean oil was a very popular use at the time. But their recommendation was to not increase the calorie count on the thing. So that kind of went sideways because when they one of the problems with that was that they don't hold up to the heat. They don't have the same kind of qualities, and people just don't like it. No one wanted to change what they were eating. So what they ended up doing then is chemically altering these, and by hydrogenating them. It was a chemical process that solidified the vegetable oils and so forth, and it made them a little bit more like respond like the animal fats. So that became very popular. So the only problem was what happened was when they did this, they increased our American diet actually increased in total fat and calorie intake significantly, which obviously was unhealthy. To make a long story short, in the article, it evolved to a point where actually there were some really interesting dates here and so forth, and books that were written to try the marketplace was responding to what people were wanting, or trying to respond to that, and trying to do it in that kind of.
And people wanted their fat.
And people wanted their fat. They still wanted
because it tastes better.
So
think about fried chicken.
Yeah.
Where would the fried chicken business be without fat?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because Kentucky Fried Chicken is mentioned in this article too, along with quite a few others. I think most of us, if not all of us, would agree that since the 60s, the obesity in America, anyway, in the United States, has just skyrocketed. A couple reasons for that were the saturated fats, the polyunsaturated, the concentrated oils and that type of thing. I think also, which was not part of the article, but we've talked about this before, people didn't used to eat out that often back in the 50s. And when the 60s came along, fast food started up. And if you look at the last 50 years in the fast food industry, and not just in the United States, but now it's spread all over the world. Franchises have it. Even down here, we have franchises that we had initially in the United States. I think this has created a big problem too with the obesity. But one of the things about back to the coconut oil, they needed to find a cholesterol-free oil that was natural and vegan and so forth. And coconut oil seemed to meet all those standards. So
because it seems natural.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, it's natural.
But coconut oil is processed.
It is processed, and there were a couple of things that started out in the early 2000s, around 2000. Let's see, here's just 3 books that came out, or 2. One was published in 2004, right when they were trying to find these solutions here. And it really helped to launch the consumer revolution. The original publication date of The Coconut Oil Miracle, it was by Bruce Fife in 2004. They point out, now, follow the money trail is kind of our mantra, right? As far as, why would this be happening type thing. Well, Fife's previous books focused on get-rich schemes, including make money reading books, get published, how to break into print with a small press, and become rich and famous. And then there was Dr. Drapo's balloon sculpturing for beginners. This was all the,
And this is supposed to be the expert.
This is the expert in coconut oil.
Yes, he's very eclectic.
Yes, well, yeah, he has answers to everything, just like we do, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, we don't, and neither does
Especially
anybody else.
balloon thing sounds interesting.
Oh, that does sound interesting. And then a year later, Sally Fallon wrote a book called Eat Fat, Lose Weight, and Feel Great with Delicious Science-Based Coconut Diet. And that's when that's a long title. But anyhow, that same year, The Coconut Diet, the secret ingredient that helps you lose weight while you eat your favorite foods, by Sherry, Calborn, it looks like, and John Calborn, it looks like, made its debut. So everybody was getting on board here, trying to get a bestseller, I would imagine. I mean, when I follow the money trail on this, I think about, okay, I want to be a best-selling author and get rich myself.
So you write something that people want to hear.
Yeah, and it was at a popular time and so forth. So, so industry started changing about that time too. I'll give you a couple of key ones. I mean, everybody's heard of Crisco. In 2004, and it's actually, I didn't realize that Smucker company owned Crisco, but they originally had partially hydrogenated vegetable shortenings. They released a new formulation made from solid saturated palm oil cut with soybean and sunflower oil. So, I mean, a lot of these things, let's see.
When you say that out loud, it sounds really kind of bad, doesn't it?
It does. Wendy's announced in 2006 plans to eliminate trans fats, because the trans fats clearly when they were hydrogenating these things, it created trans fats, which clearly have become very harmful.
Mm-hmm.
And saturated fats are harmful.
Yeah,
Trans
they're
fats are really
poison.
terrible. They're poison, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So all major things: Taco Bell, Walt Disney, McDonald's, Burger King. All these started eliminating the trans fats
Mm-hmm.
from their menus. And a number of cities actually banned restaurants from using anything that had trans fats.
Yeah.
So, like in New York City and so forth. So this is all in his article, and it's just that the last part I kind of wanted to summarize for you, or read just one paragraph of. It was subtitled "The Scientific Evidence for Use of Coconut Oil." Now, keep in mind that there's tongue in cheek here with scientific. The word
Mm-hmm.
scientific. Even after the big mistake of recommending the substitution of hydrogenated oils into the food supply in 1961, you would figure more care would be taken before doing the same with coconut oil. And this is Jeff talking. I searched the National Library of Medicine for articles published between 1985 and 2004 on coconut oil and human health to support the substitution of coconut oil into the food supply. I found 5 related to heart disease, and none of them were favorable. I didn't find any on Alzheimer's. So Jeff likes to do a lot of research and so forth, and so he summarizes those particular studies if you're interested in it. The point is just simply this, that we just seem to be so prone to fads. And we're ready to jump on the bandwagon for
Mm-hmm.
everything. And if you look at the plant-based research, it goes back centuries. So it's not a fad type thing, but
Ponce de Leon was looking for the fountain of youth,
and he found it probably.
and that was many years ago.
That was a few years ago.
So people haven't really changed
They
that
have not,
much.
yeah.
They're still looking for that magic thing.
Yes, and
And,
we found it here in coconut oil, by the way.
Oh, well,
Well,
not
no.
really.
Not really. So it's not the fountain of youth thing.
No,
And,
and it's very irritating to me
Yeah.
that people, most people don't do the research,
Yeah.
and they don't have time.
And we don't
They
want
don't
to
know
change.
how,
We
where
don't
to
want to change.
start,
That's
and they
right.
don't want to change. And when they depend on the so-called experts to give them the information that they need to
Mhm.
make a decision.
No.
And that's what makes things so confusing now for people
Yeah.
trying to decide what to do next, because there's so many conflicting things out there.
Yes.
And if you just go to McDougall's site, Dr. McDougall's site,
Mhm.
the research there, they've already done it for you.
Mhm.
You don't have to go look all over the internet for it.
Right.
You don't have to go to the library. Nobody
Yeah.
goes to the library.
What is a
anymore,
library?
I don't think. But you don't have to do all that. All you have to do is look at the research that these people have done and have also accumulated the
Yeah,
research
I was going to say
for.
they haven't done all the initial research, but they have it all
but
there.
they have it all there because it's part of what they built their whole practice on
Right.
over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's not some get rich quick scheme. It's not. They have nothing to gain from sharing this information with you, and it's all free.
Right.
And it's there for you to look at. And our job is to try to help clarify some of these
because
things.
there's a lot of confusion.
And to bring information to you that's going to help you make a decision without so much conflict.
Right.
And there's just so much bad information out there, and it really bugs me.
I think you probably have sensed that Mickey feels a little bit upset by the way we truly are manipulated and have been manipulated. Some of it on purpose, some of it because of misinformation and misunderstanding of the data, that type of thing. But if you are concerned about a good quality of life and a long life and being healthy during that time, then do the research. And if you have specific areas that are really challenging, like diabetes or cancer or arteriosclerosis, any of these things can be helped with a plant-based diet. And again, there's no money interest in having people eat plant. But the dairy industry has an axe to grind. The egg industry, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
And so do your homework a little bit. It's right there. You don't have to go to the library. So that's kind of neat because I liked libraries, but I didn't like having to go there.
We're going long.
Are we going long? Okay.
Yes.
So next week we will pick up with T.
T.
Colin
Colin
Campbell. and cover some of the very interesting the China study and other things that he's done.
Oh, yes, and we downloaded or
Recipes?
uploaded
Yeah.
Forks Over Knives,
Oh,
that documentary we were telling you about. We put it on the computer, and I think it's like $11 and something like that.
$11.99 to buy, $4.99 you can rent it. So so take a look at that. See if you're interested. That's just a fantastic place to start.
It's a wonderful place to start.
It's a great place to start. So until then, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.